we'll do some block work tonight to just help activate a little bit for stabilization. Come down onto your back. We'll start down the back with the knees bent. We'll just do a little bit of kind of exploratory movement in the sacrum. Yeah. Good. So kind of transitioning from your day into this moment, bringing your awareness into the soles of your feet and through your lower leg and the joint of your knee. Awareness moving up through the upper leg and into the hips. And I'll have you just pause there with awareness in your hips, in the pelvis, the sacrum. And just notice without trying to change it right now. Notice whether or not there is a difference between the right and the left side of your hips. So is one side lifted higher up towards one ear than the other? Just feel that in the body. And is one side lifted higher up towards the ceiling than the other? Just noticing that. Just kind of information for you. And then we'll check in again at the end of what the sensation feels like around there too. And then continuing upwards, so just bringing the awareness through the curves of your spine, so your lumbar spine, thoracic, and cervical. Bring the awareness into the shoulder joint, so the clavicle, where your upper arm bone attaches into the shoulder, coming on around into the shoulder blade. And this is another nice place to notice what's happening. So feeling the shoulder blades, how's the weight distribute between the right and the left shoulder? Does it feel like one is heavier than the other? Does it feel as if one shoulder is closer towards one ear than the other? Or does it feel as if one shoulder is closer towards the ceiling than the other? And then shifting the attention, moving it up into the head. And then having an experience of your whole body here for about 3 breaths. Just feel your whole body as you begin to elongate the inhales and the exhales. And we're going to stay in this position as we begin a little bitty pelvic tilt. So I want you to visualize a clock on the sacrum. So we'll be using 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And so as we begin, I want you to simply, on an inhalation, just rock the weight to the 6 o'clock position on your sacrum. Feel the middle of your back elongate. And then as you exhale, rock the weight to the 12 o'clock position on the sacrum and feel your lumbar spine elongate. So just go back and forth between these two real soft and subtle movements. Just linking it to the breath. Keep noticing different sensation. Notice that there are parts of the movement when you're shifting from 12 to 6 and 6 to 12 that feel a little sticky, or almost as if there's maybe no sensation or excess sensation. Just observing that. And then go ahead and slow the movement. Bring the body to stillness. And just pause with awareness. And then we're going to do it again. This time we're going to add in a little bit of a head movement with it. So on the inhalation, we're going to rock the weight to the 6 o'clock position on the sacrum. You're going to simultaneously pull the chin down towards your rising chest. And then on the exhalation, you're going to rock the weight to the 12 o'clock position and lift the chin away from the rounding lumbar spine. So you'll inhale the weight to the 6 o'clock position, draw the chin down towards the chest, and exhale, bring the weight to the 12 o'clock position and lift the chin. So just find that movement, linking it to your breath and noticing subtle sensation, lingering where you need or want to linger, just exploring. And then again, slow the movement. Let the body come to stillness. And notice each time we drop into stillness, how there may be a more subtle sensation of dropping into awareness and dropping out of the mind into the sensing and feeling body. And then from there, Mary, we're going to make it just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to have you bring your hands behind your head. So you're going to interlace your fingers behind your head. And this is not a crunch. We're just curling up, okay? So now on the inhalation, you're still dropping the weight to the 6 o'clock position, but I want you to press kind of the elbows into the ground and feel the chest expand a little bit more. And then when you exhale, you're going to kind of wrap the elbows towards the ears, and you're going to bring 12 o'clock position and just kind of roll up as much as you want to. And then unwind it. Slowly move to the 6 o'clock position. The chest expands, press into the shoulders. And then on the exhalation, bring the elbows towards the ears, weight towards the 12 o'clock position around the spine. So just take a few of those. Yeah, let it feel really good. Take one more. Nice. Then relax again into the ground. Drop in. Find that stillness, yet still feel subtle sensation from the movement. Good. And then releasing, bringing the arms down by your side here. I'm going to have you go ahead and cross your right leg over your left. So making like the number 4. So bring your ankle to knee, perfect. And then I'm going to have you go ahead and pick your left foot up, bring your left thigh towards you, and you can interlace wherever you'd like. Yeah. So we're going to do the movement with the breath. So on your inhalation, I want you to just straighten your arms and press your left thigh away from you. And as you exhale, hug the thigh towards you and keep your right foot flexed. So inhale, the arms get straight, the knee moves away from you. Feel the breath dropping in and down. And then exhale and slowly hug the knee into the chest. Good. We'll take it 2 more times before we just hold it in the forward position or the rounded position. Good. And then stay here for a couple breaths. And as you exhale, Mary, really try to find a little contraction from the top of your pubic bone towards your navel. And you may find a little bit more sensation in the hip as you engage more deeply with the exhalation, the contraction of the abdominals on exhale. Good, and then we'll release. Just pause, set both feet down on the ground. Notice sensation. Let the movement simply integrate. And then we'll switch sides. So left over right. And notice that right away, like if there's a difference in the tension or the tightness that's in your hips. And then wherever you want to interlace is fine, but we'll move with the breath here too. So on the inhalation, the arms are straight, the knees are moving away from you. Create space for breath to come in and down. And then exhale and gently hug in. And we'll do 4 total like that. Inhale, the knees move away. And then exhale, contracting gently from the pubic bone to the navel. Two more with your breath. Good, and then hold it in without force, hold it in and see if you can activate a little bit more by contracting on the exhalation from the pubic bone to the navel. Good, and then release. Nice. And again, pause here for just a moment. Let it integrate. Yeah, take any wiggling movements that you need or want. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to awareness in the sacrum. And we're going to use the 3 o'clock position and the 6 o'clock position. So the feet are hips width distance down on the ground. And on the inhalation, you're going to rock the weight to that 6 o'clock position. And then as you exhale, just go ahead and bring the weight into the 9 o'clock position, 12 o'clock position, and then begin another inhale going to the 3 o'clock and back down to the 6. So you're just taking like circles around the outer rim of your sacrum in one direction. And it's totally fine to linger, you know, just like to pause in any place that feels sticky, any place that feels as if it could use a little bit of a your own kind of self-massage there. And then we'll switch the direction. So now we'll come back through 12 and around to 9, and then down to 6, and over to 3. And you may notice that one side feels more habitual than the other. Again, just observation. And then we can slow the movement, come back to stillness. And then from there, we're going to integrate kind of the upper and the lower body here. So let's clasp onto elbows or anywhere between your elbow and your wrist and your hand. And then we're going to take the arms just up and over the head. Yeah. And so here what we'll do is the arms are going to be kind of like a typewriter. So you're going to kind of like draw your typewriter arms over to the right as you drop your legs over to the left. And just feel that. You can kind of reach out through that'd be your left, kind of reach out through your left knee from your hip all the way down to the knee. And then on an inhalation, let's come back through center. And then on an exhale, shift your typewriter arms over to the left and let the knees lower to the right. So this is now the left hip, and just kind of press the left knee away from the hip. Take a breath or two. And we'll go back to the first side one more time. So inhale, bring the knees through center, arms through center. And exhale, lower them to the first side. Reach from your right hip out through your right knee. And then allow breath to create space where you may find tension. Good, and then inhale through the center. One more time, second side. The elbows will draw to the left, the knees will move to the right. Good, we'll come back to center here. Pause again in the center. And then we're going to take it just a little bit further into the hips. So I'm going to have you cross the right leg over the left again, like the number 4. And so you may want a strap here on this next movement. Yeah. So your choice whether you use it or not. So where you'll strap is on the sole of your left foot. So you'll strap on the sole of your left foot. Yeah, good. Good, 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 good. So we can hug the left thigh in, and then we can extend the left leg up. So you're either going to clasp onto your strap, yeah, or you'll clasp onto the foot. So Mary, walk your arms up your strap so your arms are straight. So you're not like pulling. Yeah, there you go. So there's just no tension anywhere. Yeah, nice. And then you can drop the shoulders down, down, down to the ground. You can try to drop the sacrum down, down, down. But actively kind of reaching up through your left inner heel and breathing there. You can keep kind of taking that weight toward the 6 o'clock position on the sacrum, and you'll feel that bring just a bit more activity into the entire hip opening activity. Good, and then from there we'll release. And you can take any integrating movement before we switch into second side. So the strap's going to be around the sole of your right foot, and then the left leg is bent in the 4 o'clock, I'm sorry, not the 4 o'clock, but the shape 4. And then we'll rise up through the right leg, clasping onto the strap. Good. And once you've arrived, you can kind of settle in. You can drop the shoulders down. And then you can drop the sacrum down. And then if you want to work a little bit more, you'll keep moving towards the 6 o'clock position on your sacrum. And be mindful of your breath. Keep allowing breath to enter the body and to create kind of a mobility in your body as you breathe. So it should never be a feeling of being stuck in the position, but as if the breath gently rocks the position. Good, and we'll release. And this time, let's go ahead and pick both feet up off the ground. We're going to bring the hands to the knees. And Apanasana, on an exhalation, just gently hug your knees into your chest. As you inhale, gently move the knees away from you. We're going to take that a couple times. So you'll exhale, hug the knees in. And on the inhalation, move the knees away. Take 2 more. Good, and then from there we'll release and roll through the side, and we'll come to a hands and knees position. Great, so our Chakravarkasana movement here. Good. All right, so we're going to go back in segments because I want you to really start to feel kind of each part of the body, the rounding of the spine, the stretching maybe a little bit more deeply. So on an inhalation, you're just going to lift your chin, broaden your chest. As you exhale, bend your elbows first and move your sit bones back just about 1/3 of the way towards the child's pose position. And then inhale, and let's come back to the hands and knees position. And then exhale, bend your elbows first, Mary, go back about 2/3 of the way. And then inhale back up to the full hands and knees position. And then on this third one, go ahead and bend the elbows around the spine and drop all the way back into child's pose. Good. Now inhale back to hands and knees, and we're going to switch it up just a little bit. On your exhalation, bend your elbows, go back 1/3 of the way. You'll stay in this position. Inhale, pull back with the heels of your hands, lift your chest as if you're creating space from your rib cage forward. And then exhale, back another 1/3 of the way, bending the elbows. Good. Feel that rounding, relax the head if you can. And then on the inhalations, keep the position, but just pull back with the heels of your hands. Draw the chest slightly forward. And then complete exhalation, drop all the way back into child's pose. And we're going to do that one more time. So inhale, come back to hands and knees. Broad chest. Exhale back 1/3 of the way. Stay in that position, but inhale, pull back to the heels of your hands. Lift your chest slightly. When you're ready for exhalation, round, going back another 2/3 of the way, so you can relax your head at the end of the exhalation. Maintain that position as you pull back to the heels of your hands and lift your chest. And then go back all the way on the exhalation. And this time we'll stay in child's pose and just breathe here. Good. And on your next inhale, let's come back to hands and knees. And I'm going to have you go ahead and come down onto your stomach here. And we're going to do a Bhujangasana, a cobra pose, but we're going to do 3 different leg positions for just some stability in sacrum here. So the feet position are going to be, the first one is hips width. The second one is a little bit wider. The third one is the width of your mat, so your legs are kind of like a V shape. And then we're doing the same thing with the arms. The arms are just going to be under the shoulders, or if you find more movement with your arms, forearms down, it's fine to do forearms as well. This is really about kind of the moving of the legs and activating around the sacrum in different areas, okay? So whichever arm position feels most appropriate for you. We'll also rotate the head side to side so we get some cervical rotation there. So we'll start with feet a little bit closer than hips width, just a little bit closer than hips width. Our forehead will drop down, very little weight in the hands, Mary. Let's take the elbows towards one another and then draw them down the back of the body. Press into the feet, into the hip bones, and just inhale and lift the head and chest. Feel the muscles around the sacrum, the lower back working. And then exhale, come down and rotate one ear towards the ground. Great. We're going to repeat that same thing. Press into the feet, press into your hip bones equally, lift your head and chest. And then slow exhale, contracting from your pubic bone to your navel. Bring the opposite ear down towards the ground. Now this time, open your feet a little bit wider than hips width distance. And on your inhalation, again, press through your feet, press through your hip bones, lift back up. Notice that there's a subtle shift in where you may feel this around the sacrum. And then exhale, come on down, rotate the opposite ear into the ground. Inhale to come up, really pressing equally into feet and hip bones. And slow exhale, contracting from the pubic bone to the navel, opposite ear down. Go ahead and open the feet, the width of your mat or even a tiny bit wider. Press into the feet, press into the hip bones. Inhale to lift. And exhale, rotate one ear down. And again, inhale to lift. Mary, we're going to stay up in this position and just take a few breaths. So keep bringing the pressure into the feet, keep bringing the pressure into the hip bones. You can draw back a little bit to the heels of your hands to feel the breastbone shifting slightly further forward. Notice what's happening in your wings and your arms, right? So kind of maybe pull the elbows in, draw them down. And then on your next exhale, contracting from the pubic bone to the navel. This time bring the forehead down. I'll have you come to a hands and knees position. And then we're going to feel the release through one child's pose. So inhale, expand the chest. And as you exhale, bend the elbows and drop the bottom back. Slowly, slowly come all the way back into your child's pose. And then from there, Mary, we're going to come into standing, but we'll do it through a downward facing dog. So you can just kind of transition. I know you take a slightly different down dog. Yeah. Good. And so when you're ready, you'll just lift on up into your modified downward facing dog. You can take a breath or two here if you'd like to. Let's bend one knee and sink weight into the opposite heel. Good, and then bend the other knee and sink weight into the opposite heel. Nice. And then from there, we'll drop both heels down for a full cycle of breath. And then we'll come on up into standing. You can walk hands to feet or feet to hands, whatever's most appropriate. Good. Nice. And just kind of feel, right? Like, how are the hips? What's happening now? Is there a shift? Is there a change? Yeah.
They feel real good.
Good.
You
Good.
know, that first pelvic tilt, it went pop.
Oh, it's sometimes so subtle, right? Yeah.
I've been wanting, and it was a pop in the middle. Usually I feel a pop on one side or the other, but it was smack in the middle.
That's interesting.
So, so it was kind of, yeah, because I don't know if I have a backward S curve,
Yeah.
a lot of shoulder work on Monday, last night. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes that throws my hips out
Yeah, I get
because
it.
I get these straight and then those go out, you know,
I
so.
get it. Yeah. I'm I'm S-shaped too, so I get
Yeah,
that whole kind of wonky. What
yeah.
happens here does something wonky here. Yeah.
Well, and now that I think of it, last night I ran into a doorway. Like I bumped a doorway. I should have been a wake up call.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
anyway, yeah.
I,
Anyway, so you want us standing now?
yeah, we're gonna stand and we're gonna use the block in between the thighs as kind of just like activation because I don't know if you guys bring some
I'll
awareness.
use my lightweight one. Okay.
That is perfect, perfect, perfect. We're gonna take
Okay.
it high in between the inner thighs. Yep. Can you turn, yeah, turn it. There you go. That gives a little bit of a broader base to work from. Yeah, yeah. All right, so take just a moment, a little slight bend in your knees. Let's kind of lift the toes up off the ground and feel the full sole of the foot, and then you can drop your toes back down. We're just gonna activate without doing anything first. So I want you to kind of feel as if you're lifting from this inner arch of your foot, inner ankle, inner knee, and then feel the block, like squeeze the block and notice what happens to your spine. It's almost as if it sends the spine kind of actively more upward. And then go ahead and relax that, release it, and just feel kind of that curve come back in. What this for me is like, I take some of the curve out when I do that, and then when I relax it, I can feel myself drop back into the habitual pattern there. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna lift from the sole of the foot, inner ankle, inner knee, kind of a little bit of an inward rotation of the thighs as you squeeze the block and feel the energy just kind of rise up through the spine, into the head. Good. And then relax it, let it go. Good. So we want to keep this activation happening when we take Utkatasana chair pose. So on the next inhalation, let's raise the arms, squeeze the block. So it's as if it starts from the soles of your feet all the way up. And then as you exhale, keep squeezing your block, just bend your knees, trying to bring your bottom kind of back and down. Good. We'll inhale and come back up. And we'll repeat. Exhale, activate, squeeze the block. Take that internal rotation of the thighs. Complete the exhale. As you inhale, we'll rise back up. We're going to take 2 more like that. Find that little contraction from the pubic bone to the navel on the exhale. And then on this one, Mary, we'll stay. So if tension moves up into head, neck, and shoulders, you can bend elbows. Since I'm not seeing you, I don't know how your thoracic curve is. If you're flattened in your thoracic curve, this is going to flatten it even more. So something like this would be more appropriate, just depending on what's happening in the natural curves in your spine. You can kind of play with the arms. Good. Now take one more breath and just really squeeze the block, contract from your pubic bone to your navel, feel the stability. And then on our next inhalation, we'll come back up to stand. We'll exhale, lower the arms, and just move the block. Good. Nice. And We're going to step our feet wide here. And let's turn the right toes out. Pull this up over my heel, I'm going to slide. And we're going into Parsva Konasana, extended side angle. I almost always just come to my knee. That's my habit. If you like to come down, feel free to go ahead and come down, or use a block. But I typically just go here. I find more sensation in the hip by limiting the movement a little bit for my body. So feel free to take any position that feels most appropriate. Good, so we'll move in and out first, and then we'll have a stay. So let's come up with straight legs, feel the soles of the feet. Let's inhale, extend the arms wide, and then as you exhale, just bend your right knee, bring your forearm down, take your arm over your head, and then on the inhalation, let's come back up to stand. Use the energy from the soles of your feet to lift all the way up. We're gonna repeat it 2 more times. Exhale, bend the knee, feel that in your hip. Inhale to come back up. And again, as you bend your right knee, try to pull your left inner thigh away from the bend of your knee. We're going to stay here. We'll do a little bit of head and neck movement. So on your next inhalation, rotate the head to look up. And on the exhalation, lower your top arm and rotate your head to look down. Just draw your right shoulder away from your ear. Sorry, your left shoulder away from your ear. And then inhale, raise the arm up one more time, look up. And then exhale, lower the arm down, rotate the head, and draw the shoulder away from the ear. Strong legs. On an inhalation, we'll come back up to stand. On the exhale, lower the arms, turn the right toes in. Good, and then we'll switch into the second side. Nice, so feet are 3 to 4 feet apart. Toes are turned out. On the inhalation, we'll extend the arms out wide. And then on the exhalation, bend the left knee, bring the forearm down, take the arm over the head. But just explore into this hip joint. Inhale, come back up to stand. And 2 more times, exhale. As you bend your left knee, pull the right inner thigh away from the bend of the knee. Inhale to come up. And on the next one, we'll stay and we'll add in the head, neck, and arm movement. So on your inhalation, you'll turn your head to look up. And on your exhalation, lower your arm and turn the head to look down. And we'll repeat it. Inhale, raise the arm, look up. And exhale, lower the arm, look down. Draw the shoulder away from the ear, and then on the inhalation, we'll come back up to stand. And lower the arms. Just turn the toes in. We'll take one more standing wide angled forward bend in this position. So just take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, let's come forward. We'll bring the hands just under the shoulders. But we're going to kind of shift the weight from side to side. So on your next exhalation, let's bend the right knee and kind of let the torso move to the right. Take a full cycle of breath in and out. Make sure your left leg is active. And then let's inhale through the center and exhale into the second side. So bending your left knee. Good. We'll come through the center and you're going to bend both knees here. Lift to the tips of your fingers so your spine is parallel to the ground. And then as you exhale, press into your heels, straighten your legs, round your spine, let go in the head and neck. Good. From there, we're going to come back down onto the ground so you can just swivel around, you can plop down, you can move any way you want. We'll come back down and we're going to do a little bit of internal and external rotation while we're in a rotated position. Again, just to kind of see what's happening in here. So, well, I think if you don't understand my cues, then pop on your volume and ask any questions, okay? So we'll come down onto the ground and we'll do just our regular kind of supine twist here. And then we're gonna have a stay where we start to work with one leg separately. So let's take an inhalation here in the center position. And as you exhale, just bring your knees a little bit to the right and try to keep the knees together. You're not moving too far. Good, and then inhale through the center. And exhale to the second side. Good. So let me see your second side. So go ahead and come to the second side. Nice. And we're just going to keep rotating from side to side a couple times. So on the exhalation, there you go. Inhale, center. And exhale. Good. Inhale, center. And then this time, let's go ahead and take the legs all the way down to the ground. And if you need to, you can roll all the way over onto your side. So there's, you know, like if the rotation feels too big to do work anywhere else, then I would have you just roll all the way over onto one side. And then what I'm going to have you do is you're going to take your top leg and you're going to straighten your top leg as much as you can. I think you have the flexibility for that. Yeah, good. Yep. And so we're just going to take some internal, external rotation. So on your inhalation, as if you're moving from your upper thigh bone, I want you to turn your toes up towards the ceiling. And then, yes, and then your exhalation, moving from your upper thigh bone, rotate your toes down towards the ground. And we're just gonna do that a couple times. So inhale, rotate the toes, turn up. And exhale, rotate the toes, turn down. One more each time. Inhale, rotating up. And exhale, rotate down, good. And then I'll have you just release, lower the leg, good. And if you're in completely on your side, I'll have you then go ahead and rotate open into the full twist. And we're just gonna stay with the extended leg for about 2 breaths. Good. And then let's come back through center. If you need or want, you can hug your knees into your chest. And then we'll take second side. So your choice, you're either rotating the knees down to the ground and your upper body is in a rotation, or you're completely on the one side of your body as we do this next work. So we'll take and extend the top leg, just pushing out through the heel. And then on the inhalation, moving from the thigh bone, rotate so the toes point up towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, rotate the toes so they turn down towards the ground. And really try to be isolated in your movement, using the glute and using the thigh, upper thigh bone rotating in the hip. It's pretty minutia, kind of deep work there. I get kind of fiery when I do it. And then release, you can lower the leg down. If you're on your side, I'll have you take your top arm and just rotate open into the full twist. And we'll stay for a couple breaths. Good. Releasing, coming back through the center. I'll have you hug your knees into your chest. And then from there, we're going to take kind of a variation of Supta Baddha Konasana, where we're going to be opening our knees out wide, and we're going to be taking little incremental movements on the exhale to bring the knees all the way back together. So feet are together, heels are kind of close towards your bottom. On an inhalation, let's open the knees out wide. And on your first exhale, I want you to close your knees about 1/3 of the way. So a long, slow exhale where you're contracting from your pubic bone to your navel and your knees are moving upwards just a little bit. You'll stay there. You'll take an inhale. And then you'll close the knees another 1/3 of the way. So at the end of the exhalation, you should be closed about 2/3 of the way. And then you'll inhale there. And on your final exhale, you'll slowly bring the knees all the way together, kind of squeeze them in. And then a slow inhale, open the knees out wide, and we're going to take that one more time. So we'll exhale slowly and close 1/3 of the way. Stay there, breathe in. And then close 2/3 of the way. Stay there, breathe in. And then close all the way on that final exhalation. Squeeze the knees in, contract from the pubic bone to the navel. And then one time, inhale, open completely. And slowly exhale, close completely. Good. We're going to pick the feet up off the ground. We're going to bring the knees into the chest. And we're going to take a little bit of some circles with our knees. So let's hug the knees into the chest. And then bring the knees out to the side. So they're on the sides of the torso. Bring the knees forward into the center. And then hug them in once more. You're just taking some circles here, and we'll go in the opposite direction in just a moment. And feel free, Mary, to linger at any place. If it feels good to have the knees separated there for a second, it's fine just to kind of pause and take a breath in any position that feels like you want to kind of linger or hang out in. And then we'll switch the direction. And then one last time, just hug the knees into the chest here. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet down to the ground. If your block is handy, I want you to grab it. If it's not, don't worry about it because you can do the activation. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Go ahead and bring your block between your inner thighs like we did when we were standing. And we're going to take a couple bridge poses with just that stability of the block here. So on an inhalation, squeeze your block, raise your hips up. And on your exhalation, slowly come down. Completely relax. Inhale, squeeze the block, lift up. And exhale, slowly come down. Make sure you completely let go. Rock the weight all the way to that 6 o'clock position. We'll take it one more time. Inhale, squeeze and lift. And then release lower on the exhale. You can remove your block. And you can extend your legs out in front of you for just a final little rest here. So take just a moment, Mary, to get settled, to take out any of your wiggles. And then settle in a position that feels comfortable. And we'll just take the awareness down into the feet. And I'd like you to notice the weight distributed between the right and the left foot. Even noticing how one foot may be rolled out more than the other. Bring the awareness into your hips. Observing the weight distribution between the right and the left side of your pelvis here. Is one hip closer towards one shoulder? Is one hip higher towards the ceiling? Awareness into your shoulders. Observing how the weight is distributed. If one shoulder feels higher than the other. Observing the weight in the back of the head. And noticing if the head is even turned more towards one side than the other. And then moving the awareness from the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet inward. As we simply rest for just a minute in silence. And then deepening the inhales. And just taking your time to kind of reawaken. And when you're ready, you go ahead and come on up.